me just check here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have a special guest. We have Andre from ProAcive Astrology. Hello, Andre. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me, and hi, everyone.
Yeah, hi, everybody who's here. Hi, Christina. Hi, Dale. Hi, Sugar Wildflower. Welcome. If you guys have any questions as we're going through this, let us know. But I figured the thing that's on everybody's mind right now is the big debate tonight. First, I do think that it is going to happen because I know some people are still saying, oh, he's going to chicken out at the last minute. And I feel like he's going to show up tonight. Do you?
Yeah, not totally. I felt already within 2 weeks of a debate, you're too late to back out. It would look
Bad.
Too much like you were chicken, and he would have opened himself up to so many problems. And that's something that Trump absolutely hates. So extremely unlikely that, unless, separately, this guy is really dancing around some potential health patterns. Yeah. And so it's possible. There's a possibility that something like that happens. That would be a major shocker. But my sense is no, more than likely it'll just happen. And even though I know, I still see in my channel, I still see comments even today where people are, he's not going to show up. No, I think he'll show up.
I think he's going to show up. I do. And like I was saying to some of my viewers before, if you're going to watch a debate, this is the one to watch because I don't think there'll be another one. I don't foresee him doing a second debate with Biden.
That's not a bad, that's a pretty good perception because it's possible, depending on what happens today. Like a lot of it with Trump is that he's always trying to control the message and make it what he wants it to be. And his problem now is that he has 3 or 4 things that are really bad and that are going to come out. I bet you anything, even if you went to Fox to do a debate and Biden agreed, which he probably wouldn't, but say that he did, they would probably have to ask questions that he doesn't like. Because he thinks, he always says, well, you're not being fair to me. Being fair to him is letting him talk, and drone on about showers and lack of water in the toilet and sharks and, all this kind of stuff. He wants to go off on anything but talk about issues because the issues are really bad, right? Namely, for example, I'm sure that it's going to come up. Do you agree that Biden won fairly? No, he didn't. And then the comeback is going to be your own people and your own administration, people you put in there, said it was the most secure election in history. 60 courts cases said there was no fraud. So basically, if I were Biden, I'd say, you just make things up, man. You make things up. That's what it is. You're a liar and a loser, right? Say it softly or say it harshly. So it's uncomfortable territory. And that's what I feel about where the planets are too,
right. Yeah. The one thing that I think, because I do think Biden is going to mention something about, the 34, convictions and, I mean, he's literally a felon. I mean, there's like something like 30 countries he can't go to. He can't even have a firearm. He can't even have a liquor license, right? So, I mean, there's so many issues with him even trying to be president. But what I think 45 is going to try to keep saying is Hunter Biden. That's what I keep seeing him doing, like deflecting back to that. Which,
but how does that help? I mean, if he does that,
it doesn't.
Joe will just say, well, yeah, my son, he'll get the sympathy of America. My son has a problem, and he's working on himself. He's trying to improve himself, and you can't do what he did. That's true. That's how the law works. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's why the justice system works. All you maggots keep saying, I'm just going to persecute you and put you in jail. You need evidence to do that. Like you guys keep saying the Biden crime family, and you can't find anything because we don't have a crime family. You're the crime family.
Right. You're the crime.
You're the crimes, right? I mean, isn't it amazing?
That's the thing. Whatever Trump says
is what he's doing
about somebody else is what's going on with him. Like we've seen this again and again. And so like, I think he's going to try to deflect. And then I think because it is going to go poorly for him tonight, I think what's going to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's as early as tomorrow, he picks his vice president to try to like sway the conversation away.
Yeah, I said that in my video. You know, this thing.
Did you?
My most recent video that I put up, by the way, go there to the channel. The last video is all the astrology of today's debate. And I mentioned that if the debate doesn't go as well as he wants, and it almost certainly won't, you know, he'll, because you can see the energy tomorrow is really crappy. And Trump, when the energy in his chart isn't good, you know that it came out of what he did the previous day, right? So then, of course, he always does this. Then he'll say, oh, I'm picking so-and-so to change the subject. I even think, did you think about this, that the Supreme Court may be trying to do their announcement to help him out too by shifting the conversation, because what they don't want to have happen is everybody saying, oh, did you see what happened at the debate? Whatever, right? So to me, they're kind of all in league, although not completely. That's the other thing too, that one of the things I've heard about the Republican Party these days is that they're really hampered in that they're fighting among themselves. They're not really united the way they used to be, everyone with the exact same message. Now they're kind of all over the map, and that never helps, you know, when it comes to these things. Yeah.
No. And also too, I mean, the Supreme Court could have, I mean, first of all, why did they wait till the last minute, right before recess, for these huge decisions if it wasn't for some other motive, right? I mean, they had plenty of time. They could have even done it earlier this week, but yet still they're waiting. Even though the one that really bothered me that I just saw today was about the opioids, and they're not letting that lawsuit go through, you know, for the families, you know, so that kind of bothered me. But I think that's going to probably end up going back to court. I'm thinking, and it'll have a better effect. But
you only hope. I mean, like, the problem is that money is really a powerful energy. So it almost feels like the Sacklers, because this comes out of that family. You know, these total robbers and cheaters and awful people, who, by the way, were being represented by Rudy Giuliani. Are you surprised? No, of course.
No, of course not.
Sense, right? So like the way, you know, I mean, isn't it a great business? You basically make billions and then you hang on to 1 billion. Like they paid all kinds of money out, but they can be in Switzerland, you know, with tons of money, having committed crimes that are almost as bad as what was happening in the Third Reich. I mean, they literally killed people by the tens of thousands, and with
if not more.
Yeah. So it's pretty sad, and I do wish that the courts were tougher on these people, because it's so awful, you know. But I don't know if they will, because the Supreme Court now, they started with Citizens United, and they're tilting to the right, and to them, you know, anything that is business is good, and they're not particularly focused on the ordinary individual. It's not their thing, you know. So
yeah, I agree. I hope that they do the right thing ultimately, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, because it did affect a lot of people, and, you know, and here too, it's like now we're actually having the opposite effect, that if you do need pain medicine, now you're not able to get it. You know, I've had so many clients come to me saying, you know, I've had surgery, you know, I need the pain medicine, and my doctor wouldn't give it to me. They're saying, just take ibuprofen for something that's pretty, like, even if you break a leg or something, they're just giving you like very minimalist medications for pain, which is hurting some people, you know. So it's like we kind of swing too far in one direction and then the other in this country.
Yeah, no, and I mean, they just have to monitor it more. To me,
exactly,
this is the American thing too, that Americans always panic if someone says, well, let's keep track of this. No, that's my privacy. Well, how are we going to know if you're abusing opioids? Well, we know if they said, I gave him this many for this much, and that's all he gets, right? So then they could control it. And the Sacklers were doing crazy things like prescribing dosages that are insane. They're like for horses. And so people were getting massively, you know, addicted. But if you're taking small amounts of OxyContin and things like that, it's not too bad. Like, while you're still like in surgery and things like that. I've had surgeries where, it hurt like hell. I mean, if I don't take something,
you need
like that,
something.
like you're being stabbed, you know, with a really sharp knife.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah. So did you have any thoughts about who he's going to pick for vice president? I'm leaning towards J.D. Vance. That's what I'm leaning towards.
That's the one of the big, you know, predictive things that you hear out there, even from political political pundits. The one thing about J.D. Vance and him or Marco Rubio, they've said some really pointed negative things about him. So Democrats are going to use those to try to undermine the pick.
Sure.
Do you get any feeling about? Do you think that other guy, the Burgum, the millionaire, the guy with all the money, who he said less about Trump, but he looks more boring. Like he's not as he doesn't have as much of a.
I didn't look at Burgum. Yeah. Let me pull a few cards on him. I have not looked at him. Let me see. Let's see. King of Wands. Okay, so there's something legal going on with him. This is a very cold read for me because I actually haven't read on him before. So he comes up as, somebody that can definitely make money. He knows how to be a good businessman. But in this case, I think the King of Swords is his obstacle in a legal sense, because it's followed by the Justice card and then him trying to get away with things. And so that tells me, all right, there's like some kind of legal case that either he is currently dealing with or he's about to deal with that is going to be an issue.
Interesting. Well, does that surprise you? Does that surprise you?
No.
I mean, I often say, I used to say to people, and I still say it as, the Democrats are philanderers and Republicans are thieves. They're just thieves. They're always looking for a place to steal some money somehow or cheat or,
Right. Let me see if there's any questions. I see, welcome everybody. I see a lot of you. Okay, Celtic Seer. I think I know the answer to this one. When will money be removed from politics in the USA? I don't think anytime soon. Maybe 20 some odd years going out in the future, but not in the next few elections, I don't think.
No, it's really hard to do. And, this arises out of, I think the conservative money class, they want money in the system because that allows them to manipulate people, basically. That's the bottom line. Like,
sure.
If you can throw a lot of money at something, then you change people's minds. So the more you keep it reasonable, tight, small amounts, the more you benefit the ordinary people. But they don't want that because they want to be.
Exactly.
It's a little bit like the like back in the day. If you own property, if you have money, you're supposed to have more power than the ordinary person, and they're advocating for that. And so, if you're thinking that way, your first problem is you need a different court. And right now, the court is filled with 6-3. They're in that gear. So, and the court has lifetime appointments. It's not easy to change anything, by the way, because that's how democracy works. You got to go through all kinds of labyrinths to change it. Right. And so people get angry. They go, why is this happening? And why can't they just, that's what happens in Nazi Germany. They can issue an order and make it happen. But then that's really bad for you. So be careful.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. There's a few people saying that they don't think that they can watch the debates tonight, the debate. And I get that.
Pretty good, though. The debate, my feeling is that whenever you watch Trump, you cringe. He's just a cringe-worthy character. But I think it's worth watching in that it's a pretty good setup for Biden. I like it a lot. I like the pattern today and the way where the planets are. Planets in Pisces, planets in Cancer. He's a Scorpio. It's really good energy. And it's not good for Trump. Trump has all kinds of liabilities and things that he doesn't want brought up that are going to be brought up. And then he's going to say, it was all rigged against me.
Yes.
How dare you mention that I tried to overturn the government? That's because you did. How dare you mention that I'm a convicted felon? Because you are, 34 times. I mean,
Right. And I'm so glad that they're going to be muting the mics in between to actually stop it, because before it was just a horror show. I mean, you couldn't hear anything. It was ridiculous. The one thing that I think that we're going to see, and this is something to keep in everyone's back of your mind as a dementia practitioner, because I know some of you have written to me saying, you think 45 has Alzheimer's and this and that, and I'll say, no, it is true frontotemporal dementia. Look it up, look at the symptoms. And because like Alzheimer's, they will just completely like forget the words. They have that far away look. It's very different. Frontotemporal, first of all, they lose their emotions for other people. They're very cold. They don't make good decisions. They're very impulsive because that's the part of your brain that deals with making rash decisions, right? So he's going to be very impulsive, but it also controls your speech. And I think you're going to see him using very bizarre words, going off on these weird tangents like he did with, electricity and sharks and things that didn't make sense. And one thing that caught my attention was because eventually, as frontotemporal dementia progresses, they have a hard time walking. Their gait changes. And I did see just recently him walking like up on a platform on a stage with his son, Junior, there holding his hand. And I thought that was very telling because that is, you can actually stage the dementia by that because that goes a little bit later, the gait. And so this is, I think, some things that we can look for. Because because the other dementias look very, very different. And I'm not going to say that he won't get other types of dementia because dementia loves dementia. And most people end up getting more than one type once they get one. But watch for his words and his train of thinking and his lack of empathy. That's a hallmark of frontotemporal.
Yeah. And he didn't start with much empathy to begin with. So
exactly,
it's just accelerated it because he was always, the classic bully, smartass,
right,
pain in the neck individual to be around because he was always going to the ditch, the sort of vulgarity. That's what Trump is about. He's a vulgar, and
yes,
totally crass human being. Now it's accelerated, and the thing is, he depends so much. He's like a salesman, a fast talker. He just talks over you and he makes cases. But because of what you're saying, the risk of going off on a tangent where people go, huh? What's going on here? Sometimes he loses, completely forgets. He was using the word, what was it that he was doing? Instead of saying rebuttal, he was saying refuddle. And he said refuddle.
That is that's actually what they do. Sort of like, he does this a lot. The first example that I can think of is because your brain makes associations, right? So like when he had Tim Cook from Apple there one day, and he was talking and he called him Tim Apple, because that is literally how your brain works. It'll make associations. And when that part of your brain starts to deteriorate, it will try to get something that makes sense. And it's like, oh, Tim Apple. Okay. And it puts it together. Right. And if he just did it once, we all make mistakes once or twice, but this is becoming a thing, right? It's not just once or twice. It's like every single time. It's becoming nonsensical. Melinda keeps asking us, and once again, I think I know the answer to this. Do we see Trump revealing national security secrets tonight during the debate?
I doubt that. What I think is you'll see during the debate is a whole lot of tension and discomfort because of topics that he really, really doesn't like to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're going to ask him. For instance, he said he would be a dictator on day one. Okay, tell us. Right. How does that work? Oh, no, I didn't say it. No, actually you did. So I just hope that the moderators, when he tries to deflect, they say, you didn't answer the question. Like, we're asking you about this. Please answer the question, because Trump has to hide. What is he going to say about the fact that, according to him now, women can just fend for themselves? If you're in the right state, you're okay. If you're in the wrong state, because legal scholars have said this is the right thing to do. You got to explore that topic a little bit and say, this is what happens when you do this. This means there are women right now in Idaho that have to be airlifted to California or to Washington State in order to get treatment. What is this? What kind of a racket setup do we have going here? That's the questions I'd be asking him. And he has no answer for that, because he was really proud to say, I was the one that ended Roe v. Wade. 50 years trying to do this. Okay, good. You own it, right?
Absolutely. And the other thing, too, that I've always thought is that, unlike other presidents, he wasn't given all the national security secrets. I think he was limited. I don't think it's given equally. And I think with him, I don't think he was given a lot of information. I think they left a lot out intentionally.
One can only hope, because he is supremely dangerous around that. Yeah. Especially that a person that reasons the way he does, he's all about vengeance and retribution. He could do it just out of spite, to hurt the country in some way, because who knows, for all you know, he still has something at his house. I mean, he was caught with all those records. So I'm hoping you're right, that he never got the real juice, because it's super dangerous,
Yeah, because one thing I always thought, like, if he was like everything we know about, say, Area 51, now we have 52, we have 53. If he knew like all those things about extraterrestrials, I think he would have just lab everything. With the technology that we have, whether you believe in extraterrestrials or not, we do know like there's some kind of superior technology that our military is developing there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have definitely blabbed some of that sort of thing. So I'm kind of hoping like he wasn't given everything, but also too, what's his memory like? How much does he remember from things?
Yeah, I mean that's probably the biggest problem, because when you the way you put, when you were explaining frontal dementia, the problem is that your memory can let you down at a key moment, and then something will get blurted out, and that works against you. But I don't know if do you feel like he might say something tonight to reveal a secret? I think that's a little too far, in my opinion.
I don't really think he will. Let me see.
Your internet is a little choppy.
It's choppy. Yeah. They're coming to work on it. I am getting more. So just let me know, guys, if it's become a problem, because I can always switch over to data if it's like really bad. The one good thing is usually after it gets uploaded, it's usually fine. Let me just double check. I think it's okay. All right. I think it is choppy. Let's see. Yeah, I'm freezing a bit. Some people are predicting that he is going to walk off stage. He's going to storm off stage. I don't think he's going to do that. I don't
know. Yeah, I mean, well, let me put it to you this way. To me, that feels like a bigger possibility than him not showing up, but it's still a low possibility, because that again, you walk off, then you create, by walking off, you create really bad news going forward, where people will point that out. He walked out, doesn't want to deal with it, and so forth. So I'd say unlikely for that to happen.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to stick it out, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things from the astrology is that he does have smooth energy tonight in the near term, within the context of rough, choppy water. So when he feels any kind of smooth energy, he tends to get overconfident, and he feels like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I'll go in there and I'm going to take control. The solution to all my problems is more Trump. I'll just do more of me. And so, yeah, that adds to the possibility that he just shows up and then he has to deal with the situation, right? So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one way or the other, he's going to have to deal with us. Somebody asked a good question. Dale here asked a question. How much more accurate is an astrology reading with the time of birth included, or can some astrology readings be correct with no time of birth?
Well, it's not a matter of correctness. It's more that when you have the time of birth, you do have more information to work with.
Yeah.
But when an astrologer, like I know me personally, I can do a really good job for a person without a time of birth, because of the way I approach astrology, which is to present it to you in a way that you can use it in your life and in the upcoming cycles. And you can see the cycles, the big cycles, even without the time. So you can give really good direction to a person. And so then, yes, if you have the time, you add more layers to, anchor the thing. But the more experienced an astrologer is, the more they're able to give you great information, even without a time, just with the day of birth. That's what I often do with politicians, where there's just no time available, right?
Right.
You can't get it. Like, I don't know Marco Rubio's, I don't know J.D. Vance, I know Trump's birth time, and I know Kamala, and I know Joe Biden, back in the day, Obama. Lots of them are known, but there are some that aren't. And then You have to, like Nikki Haley is a great case where I wish I knew the time because it would help me to really anchor her chart more. And so it doesn't give me all the information. And for a person who's trying to be president, of course, the more you have, the better. But for most of us, you can do really good work without it, right? So that's the answer to that. Yeah.
So that's good news, I think, because a lot of people don't know, their birth time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm lucky. So right now, astrologically, we have Pluto and Saturn in retrograde, right? Is that correct, or am I wrong?
No, Pluto is retrograde. Saturn is about to go retrograde. Saturn is, we're at 3 days. It's just about to stop in a station.
Okay.
And then it's going to start moving backward, all the way until the third week of November. It's going to backtrack. So,
oh wow, so like right up to the election.
Up to the election. And Saturn and Pluto will be retrograde together until about the fall, because I think it's September, in that range, or October, Pluto goes direct. So Pluto is retrograde right now. So for a period there, like July, August, and I think September. Let me look it up right now and I'll tell you.
Sure.
Pluto goes direct. No, October. So July, August,
Okay.
September, they are together retrograde. Yeah. And so that just, in a person's chart, in an individual person's chart, when planets are retrograde, it's time to go within yourself more, work within yourself. Retrograde is turning the energy inward. In the world, it means that a lot of things get resolved when the planet goes direct, which happens in November. Unsurprising, because that's when the election is being held, right? And the other thing to say is, right now, at the end of June, there are two planets that are going retrograde, Saturn and Neptune, and they're very important in describing big events that are taking place, such as the debate, the sentencing is happening, the convention is close to now. So there's a lot of stuff going on whenever planets are just about to go one way or the other. They're either going to go retrograde or they're going to go direct, right? The stations.
Right.
Yeah. That's how that
there's
works.
so much to astrology. There truly is. How do we finish up with this question? Letitia asks, help me understand how they can still let him run for president if he is sick in the head and a felon.
Yeah, right. Help me understand too.
Yeah, help us. Yeah.
You tell us, right? You tell us, because that's the thing, is that in a way, what people like Trump tend to do is they're part of an era when they expose the problem with our system, because so many of these things, people just expect you to be decent enough to behave and be reasonable, and he's just not. That his whole idea is, I'll just break through all the barriers. So then becomes a topic to be fixed later. But in the meantime, yeah, we're hosed, because there's no rule. Nothing in the Constitution says that you can't be a felon. So then it's almost like they're leaving it up to the public. And Trump being Trump, he just tells you, I'm not a felon. He's a felon. I'm not a criminal. He's a criminal. It's like, I'm rubber, you're glue. Everything. I mean, think about it, right? The last person, a few years ago, the last person you would have said is a criminal is Biden. He's known to be particularly straight up, as a civil servant. The last guy, like Lindsey Graham, used to go around, but he would cry, Biden is such an amazing person. Now he calls him a crook and a criminal.
Right.
It's all made up. Like, then they go to Congress and we're going to impeach you. For what? They got nothing. They keep talking. But Hunter Biden. Well, that's his son. The laptop. That's his son. What do you got on Joe? Nothing. They just keep saying things. So, but that's Trump's thing is, because I'm a criminal, I'll call you a criminal. Back in the day, I remember in 2016, he was calling Hillary a bigot because people were calling him a bigot. I saw him in a
Hillary
Clinton's a bigot. Please, it's
it makes
so
no
transparent.
sense. And I think it's happening because our forefathers truly did not anticipate this. So they didn't make, same thing with the Supreme Court justices not having some sort of moral code of ethics that they have to adhere to. I think our forefathers were very trusting in a lot of ways. They didn't foresee a lot of this that's happening, but I think new laws and legislations will happen because of this.
Yeah, no, and look, there's a lot of hypocrisy in politics. I'll give you an example where Democrats do this too, and it's not a good thing to do. They go to Congress anticipating that they can buy stocks and profit. It's like insider trading, right inside,
Sure.
the Senate and the House, because the rules don't say that they can't. So they go there and they can make all kinds of money. And you or I would be in trouble for pulling a stunt like that. If you had
Yeah.
inside information, the SEC can come after you. So, and you see this across the board, the Supreme Court, they'll pull for who they like and so forth. And it's bad. And Trump is an extreme case of just all out. I mean, God, the guy was pardoning all these crooks, people that were convicted, like Roger Stone,
Yes.
Bannon. They were convicted in
Yes.
court of crimes by a jury who saw the evidence. And
it's not working out for Bannon, though, is it?
No, it's not. Well, Bannon is an example of when the planets are not on your side. Bannon is a Sagittarius with moon in Virgo, probably. He might have the moon in Leo, but I don't know his time. There's another case where it would be good to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a time of his 9:30 p.m. Could be true, but it's not verified. Anyway, point being,
right.
Just being a Sagittarius, if you are committing crimes, because people will hear this and say, "Oh, well, you said Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius. Does that mean I'm a criminal?" No, it doesn't. It just means
right.
You're a Sagittarius and you've been committing crimes. Saturn is knocking on your door, trying to bring you to account, which is why he's facing prison and so on. And this happens a lot to people that they don't measure properly. Like you could have said to Giuliani, "Listen, whatever you're doing now, back in 2020, the planets look really rough in 2021, 2022. Are you safe?" "Oh, yeah. The law started to come after him. Now he's broke." That happened also to that, that crazy guy, Alex Jones.
Yes. I mean, I saw him like crying and he's not too happy right now, is he?
No, he's not.
But he deserves it. I mean, he does everything that he did to those poor families in Connecticut. My God.
Yeah. No, and I mean,
what a monster.
I mean, it's the great leveler. Like for all the problems with money, that's one of the ways you fix these problems, because the way to stop Fox is they had to pay almost $1 billion for lying.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed something really funny, that Trump went on Newsmax and he started ranting and raving about how the election in 2020 was rigged, and the Chiron, that thing they put underneath with a message. It said,
yes.
Newsmax fully accepts the results of the 2020 election, and Joe Biden was legally. And the reason is because they don't want to be
scared.
They don't want to be sued. Yeah. So
right.
The whole point is that this is the great leveler in capitalism. You have to leave it open, because otherwise people like this, they just, they try to take the system down by their lies. Right. So,
right.
And I sincerely hope, Trump's karma, he's sued everybody on the planet and he's getting sued a lot. I don't think he'll ever leave, the realm of being sued, because there's one of his planets there that's parked in a really bad spot and it takes forever to leave. So I think he's going to be in court, constantly, pretty much for the rest of his life, forever. Yeah.
Death by a million litigations, right?
Yeah, which is fully deserving, because that's what he's done to people, He's bled people dry and So.
Karma. There's a bit of karma playing out. And but also too, like I always say, it's like, for those people that feel bad for him, he did it to himself. And he could have stopped at so many points, and even now he's not stopping. So it's like, you can't really feel bad for the man, because this is just who he is. He's making these decisions, and he has advisors around him that's helping him clearly to make these decisions. So and it's, how much sympathy can you have? Exactly. He's done this to himself.
Yeah, and by the way, the comment was around someone who's sick in the head, and if you look at this guy, I've watched Trump, especially since 2010 or so, because he started attacking Obama in a really unfair way. So I started paying attention, and you can see in him a constant decline. Like even in 2016, he was a lot sharper in 2016.
Yes,
but if you look at that speech, look it up, go online and put Trump's CIA speech in 2017, like early 2017. He sounds like a mentally ill person. If you read the entire
I'll have to look that one up.
All over the map. I mean, you kind of go, holy Lord. Like, in other words, go back 10 years. He doesn't talk like that. He talks in complete sentences. He was much sharper, including, I'm pretty sure that the Trump in, say, 2005 would have been horrified to see the Trump today, because of how reckless he is. Things
I
like
agree.
taking nuclear secrets to your home. Where's your brain? The system is going to come after you. It's wired to push back on that because of how dangerous it is. So,
Right.
yeah, you're like, I totally agree with the person. He's sick in the head, but it's what we have, and
Yeah.
we've had other people in history. Hitler was totally sick in the head. If you
Right.
study what he was doing, he was mentally ill the whole time,
Absolutely.
and including that
Absolutely.
back in the Third Reich, they were giving them methamphetamines like around the clock. So they were,
Yes, I was just watching something on that.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. And then when you hear about all the drugs that Hitler himself was doing too,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he was on this and that. I mean, they were just loading him up. But yeah, they was loading up the soldiers too.
Oh
And
no,
what
for
I was
sure.
gonna add too with him being sick in the head, and this is just standard with dementia. You have dementia for 10 years before it becomes really noticeable to everybody.
There you go. So it's like a
Because I've
decline.
always Right. So like
Right.
you can see the decline, and oftentimes it starts with things like hygiene. And
Oops, your internet went choppy again there.
oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me crazy. But so yeah, I mean, like you can see the slow decline here, and I think it's going to be very evident on stage tonight. So I will leave it at that.
Yeah. No. By the way, in the astrology, there is definitely between now and election time, there is a definite potential for, particularly to Trump. It's just that to Biden too. I have to admit, there's a bit to Biden, but much worse to Trump of something shocking and unexpected happening.
Yeah.
In particular, it could be his health as an example, because that's how health tends to
Sure.
work, right? If you're tempting
Right.
fate, suddenly, boom, you get an event, and you can't hide it anymore because it's right in front of you.
It's true, right? And they'll both have to deal with it when that happens. If people want a reading with you, because I have referred a lot of people to you, how do they get a reading?
Just go to ProAcive Astrology and go to the About section, and you'll see there how to go to my my website, and then you'll find the tab and book it, pay for it. It's all there. You can if you go to my channel, you'll find it how to do it basically. Yeah.
And if anyone wants a reading with me, I am filling up for the summer. DianneAquarius.com is my website. And I am taking much of the fall off. So I know a lot of people want to get their readings in. So I am booked for the rest of this month and much of July too. So do that sooner than later, because I am taking some of September off, all of October off, and some of November off. So just from readings, not from membership or anything, but.
Right.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Andre, for showing up today. And thank you, everybody, for viewing us. I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, that was fun. And I guess now we have.
Now we wait.
Now we wait. Yeah, my sense is that the debate itself is one thing, but the part that I personally, because I'm totally biased. I mean, sometimes people say to me, "Oh, you're so biased." Yeah, I like being biased. And I mean, come on. My good fortune is that I happen to be biased in the direction that I think it's going to turn out in the person that I like, right? But the part that encouraged me the most is the post-debate energy isn't good for Trump, right? So that's how you always know that the outcome. Of course, they'll paint it. They'll say, "Oh, he was masterful. He was amazing," but oh yeah, I know what it was.
It's all rigged.
A final word here, that something I heard yesterday, which was really fascinating. This person was saying something that some have already said, but it's kind of obvious, that the election is going to be decided by the independents, right? The people that are not registered Republicans or Democrats. And it turns out that the felony charges that when he was convicted, the independents shifted away from him by about, I think it's 5 or 6 points. That's the election loss right there. And it's in his chart because the independence planet is very badly placed during this whole year.
Oh,
and so
okay.
You could argue from that. Astrology sends you these really neat, images around what's the problem. The independents, you can point to them, versus, say, for example, the older people or the this or the that. The independent seal is fate, so.
And I think too, there's going to be a lot more shifting after the debate tonight.
Yeah, that's another one that was my intuition when I was looking at some charts, that there would be at least some movement.
Right. I mean, you can't hide crazy. That's the thing. You can't hide. You can only hide crazy for so long, right?
Yeah, no,
It's got to be out there on display.
yeah, no, and the worst thing about the last place you want to be is in a national debate if you want to hide crazy.
Right. Yeah, right. In front of millions of people. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. All right.
by the way, kudos to Biden in that he arranged this without an audience because Trump needs the audience to say outrageous things when they
Yes.
clap. And now it'll be like this dead silent. We're like inside this tube. And so then,
He's already complaining. I don't know if you
oh,
saw,
yeah.
he's already complaining that he's not going to be able to read the room. He can't read an audience now. And I'm like thinking, oh gosh, as a YouTuber, you and I, like we both make videos like in front of like nobody giving us feedback, right? Like how would he ever function even as a YouTuber? You know, never mind president. If you need to get that feedback, but I think he revels in it.
Yeah, he does. But strictly speaking, that's not a debate. A debate happens between two people, and you don't want to have extraneous things happening that tilt it one way or the other. This guy, the way he plays is they ask him a question about the economy and he says something about, oh, let's set it all on fire. Yay, yay. So then the people that are running the debate have to wait till it quiets down. It's a farce. So I'm glad that they said, no, you're going to have a proper debate. And then it can be, then he can't, you're totally right. You can't feed off that. And he doesn't like it. But, back in the day when Lincoln and the other guy were debating, they were just sitting across each other on a table. There wasn't a crowd making noise. That's a modern invention for TV, right? So
yeah, right. It's to get ratings, right? Because he's all about ratings. So because and I know tomorrow he'll be talking about, oh, it had the greatest ratings ever. Like that comment is coming.
And I mean the part that's the part that I find most astonishingly bad is that how these guys want license to lie. So one of the things that he hated hearing is that they were trying to bring in, there was people saying there should be live fact checking. Well, of course he doesn't want that because he lies through his teeth. To me, when you're doing a debate, they should have
absolutely.
It kind of like now with sports, they're bringing in more and more computer work. Imagine if in the background, if you lie, there would be video immediately showing, no, she said the opposite. So then you would be forced to tell the truth. I mean, it's so unfair that these guys can go on there and just make bleep up, right? Just pull it out of their and then throw it out there. And then the supporters say, well, he said this. I mean, I heard that something like 12 or 18%, a number that's way too high, think that Biden is responsible for Roe v. Wade being taken away. Now, that is bizarro, right? Because that's
okay.
But
no.
You know what? Trump is such a liar. He's capable of saying that in the debate. I didn't do this. You did this, right?
Oh my gosh. It's gonna, I think to some degree it'll be a little bit of a three-ring circus, but I'm happy that they're muting the microphones. That makes me happy. So there's no yelling and shouting because that's too much.
Totally. And I'm especially happy that the astrology, without being 100% perfect, is, I like it. I like, in terms of why, it'd be like if I'm watching a sports game and I'm thinking, does it favor my team? Is it better? Because that's what I want to see win. So, rest easy. Just try to be relaxed. And even though I know,
exactly.
It's like saying to someone, relax when you're going into a wind tunnel.
Right. I mean, after I do my seminar, members, we do have a seminar on like how to manifest more joy tonight. And then we'll watch the debate. Probably one of the ways, right? Yeah, one of the ways to manifest joy is probably not to watch too much politics, or to take some of it with a grain of salt. I mean, like, because we kind of already know how it's going to play out, I think. And I think in the long run, he just doesn't have a chance of being president. So I feel relaxed about it.
A lot of it is too that when it comes to managing yourself, I remember running this experiment a while back. I was doing a lot of, yoga, deep breath type practice. And I remember that I would do it just to practice while this is in the days when the Seahawks here were a really well-known team and they were winning, and you'd get all totally in the game. So then I would be doing this breathing, and within 10 minutes of long in, long out, repeat, repeat, then I would notice that I would enter a state where I didn't care. I was feeling so balanced that they win, they lose. So
Right.
they hear you talk about, generating joy. How much joy can you hold on to when you're now watching something that is trying to throw you off balance? But you're doing it through your own, creating your own tension,
Right.
like you stop breathing and, so
Yes.
keep yourself
Yep.
breathing in and out and you should be fine.
Right. And I always say, observe, don't absorb. Just
Right.
be that passive, neutral observer, because you can't change a debate. You can't change politics, really. I mean, you can vote, which we should. But beyond that, I mean, like, you can't change what happens tonight. But you can just sort of watch it more passively a little bit. And like you said, paying attention to your breath, paying attention to your muscles. Are your hands all clamped up? And just allow yourself to relax, stay hydrated, have a snack. It's going to be fine. We're going to get through this. We've been through this before and we survived.
Oh, for sure.
That's the thing to remember.
And you've got plenty of entertainment coming up soon. I mean, there's going to be the sentencing, there's going to be the Supreme Court decision, there's going to be I think, by the way, the convention is going to be the Republican convention. It's going to be a totally rowdy rodeo because of where the planets are. So there is lots to happen, still in the upcoming weeks and months. So, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, take it easy, everybody. All right. Well, thank you, Andre. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And we'll have to do this again.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, everyone. That was fun.
All right. Bye, everyone.